Good afternoon. I was made aware of it not too long ago, but I'm honored to do it. So, Olga Washington, who's my daughter-in-law, those of you who know her, and matter of fact, on this amazing panel, she would have been here today on that panel. Olga's from South Africa, the daughter. She's the oldest child of Kenneth Mshwe, who is a parliament member and also the founder of DAISY, Defend, Embrace, Invest in, Support Israel. It is a black South African Zionist organization founded the same year. Ironically, it was founded the same year that we founded our Black American Zionist organization here in the States. We did not know each other at the time. We only met a couple of years later. Reverend Mshwe and I began to correspond a little bit. And then Olga and I as well on social media. My son knew she was beautiful. He asked me her name. I said, her name is out of your league, son. That's to make him try hard, Russell. Thankfully, he didn't get completely discouraged. They were married, had 7 wonderful years together. She passed away January of this year. We are still very much in mourning. My wife is here as well at the conference. She's in another place. Our operations and everything stopped for a few months before we regained. She was an extraordinary person. Those of you who know her know that already. She had great loves in her life. She loved God, very religious person. She loved her family, her father, her mother, brothers, sisters. She loved her husband, my son, their 2 sons, Ezra and Judah, who are now 6 and 4. And she loved South Africa. She called herself a daughter of Africa, and she loved Israel and the Jewish people. One of the first times I saw her on video, social media, it was an event somewhere in South Africa. It was a pro-Israel event for their organization. I didn't know her again at the time. I knew of her father. And she gave maybe about 15, 20-minute speech. And if you've ever heard her speak, you know she's she's a force of nature. And at some point in the speech, as she was going through her points, she was speaking directly to the Jewish students on the campuses there. Because the BDS movement, which actually started there because of the Durban conference in South Africa, 2001, the violence and the things associated with all the anti-Semitism were happening in some of those campuses. And Olga, to the audience, says, and when these things rise up, she spoke directly to the students, know that we will support you, we will protect you. And this is the type of person that she was. She didn't say things just to say them, she meant them. On the morning of October the 7th, 2023, the October the 7th, she was actually on her way to Israel for a JNF conference, and I believe she was receiving an award. And I believe, Russell, tell me your wife's name again to me. I'm still learning the names, I'm sorry. This is my first time I've known of them, but I haven't met them face to face until we came to this conference. Olga always spoke highly of them. They were on their way to pick her up from the airport. And we were horrified at what we were seeing in the news and the images coming up that Hamas themselves were posting. And we didn't know what to do. We couldn't contact her. She wasn't on Wi-Fi at the moment on the plane. And we said, well, even if we could, what do we tell her? What do we say? What do we say? When you land, if you land, this is what's happening. And so for the first week after October 7th, she's on the ground with JNF, helping, going from place to place. It is a whirlwind. At some point, Russell, she made a video, and she was outraged that there was not an outcry coming from the Christian community. So being who she was, she made a video in the car, and in a very nice South African polite way, read in the Riot Act, where are you? You've come here to the Holy Land. Why aren't you standing up? Why aren't you saying something? She did this from the time. I ended up saying this. When she came home after that week, flew in, there's a lot of stuff going on at the house. She was brought by taxi to the house. My son and our grandsons were there, and my wife opened the door. And it was at that point she just collapsed and began to cry because of everything that she had seen. She experienced that October 7th on the ground with her Israeli brothers and sisters, and I can tell you she would have rather been nowhere else at the time, and spoke out even more. We miss her terribly. Again, we are still weeping, but I know that for Olga, it was a heart's cry. She's a Zionist through and through. So thank you for honoring her memory. Thank you for even giving me the opportunity to say these things about her. Thank you for continuing. I'll say this last thing. We've gotten an outpouring of love from the Jewish community literally around the world. Literally. Her body was buried there at Tel Regeb Cemetery in Haifa. She's not Jewish. My son just said, Dad, I think I want to do that. I said, well, let's see. And then our Israeli friends, the president himself, President Herzog, came to the house where we were sitting, Shiva, to personally express his condolences for the family. That's how our Jewish friends have stood up for us. Now I'll end it with this, Russell. Our Jewish friends have told us the first time I saw Martin Luther King Street in Jerusalem and Coretta Scott King Forest that JNF was responsible for placing there. They said, Dumisani, the Jewish people never forget a friend. We buried our daughter while you still had hostages in Gaza, while you were still losing soldiers. But many Israelis came to that cemetery to bury her and cry with us. We will never forget that. We're saying while you are mourning your losses and fighting for your very existence, you pause to stand with Christian Zionists just to let them know how much you appreciate it. So let you know we love and appreciate you too. Thank you so much.